Welcome to my channel and welcome to the Dollar Store Sign Hacks Open Playlist. In this playlist, we're upgrading dollar store signs for fall. Some of them have started out as fall signs and we're adding embellishments and our own touches. Others have started out as other seasons signs and we're flipping them into fall. I'm co-hosting this with my best friend Becky over at Simply Becky DIY, and if you don't know who she is, be sure to check her out once you're finished with this playlist. You've probably seen people redecorate these trucks from Dollar Tree before. I bought this one last year with the intentions of a makeover and never got around to it. So now let's see what I can do. I'm going to leave the blue. I think I'm going to take this off. I'm not really a big fan of that. And hopefully it doesn't tear the paint up. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to get that leaf out of there. I'm going to sand this down a bit, or scrape it down, I should say. And now I'm going to go over that with a Posca marker. And I think I'm going to go with this lighter of the blue. I've got the turquoise and I've got two different shades of blue in there too. Yeah, I think I'll try this one first. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And I'm just going to go over what's already written there and try to stay inside the lines as much as possible. I don't know why my camera keeps shutting off. I don't have low battery, but I've been trying to craft this. Don't know how much of it I've got and how much I didn't get, but I will say at this point I have gone over the fall harvest sign that was glitter. I went over it with a Posca marker, and now I've put some pumpkins and pomegranates in the back of the truck. Some of the pumpkins I left whole, some of them I cut, and now I'm stuffing in leaves in between in the gaps to cover the original picture that was on the truck. Now I want to go yellow in between those two orange pieces. I'm going to kind of crinkle that up. Put some glue in there and stick that down like so. Yeah, I'm just going to search for places that need a leaf. Some of them I'll leave flat, some I'll fold in half like I'm about to do here. Stick that in there. I'll go with another yellow down here. And I'll crinkle that up. Put some glue in there. Stick that leaf in. And then once I have all that, or the majority of it, I'm not going to say I can get all of it, but once I have the majority of that picture, original picture done, then I will be finished with this DIY. And there is the fall harvest truck sign. All it took was some hot glue, a few pumpkins and some leaves, a little bit of a paint marker over the license plate, and it looks so cute now. And that's the whole point of this collab. Sometimes I just want a sign for the shape. For instance, this rectangle shape from summer last year, I'm going to craft on the back of that. I'm going to take off this hanger and remove the sticker, and I'm going to Mod Podge some paper down. And I'm not worried about it not being the right size to cover completely, because I've got an idea of what I'm going to do to fill in those areas. I'm going to use matte Mod Podge. I'm just going to brush some on the back of the paper. I covered the entire back of this paper, which, by the way, the name of this is Fall Plaid from Hobby Lobby. While that's drying, I'm going to cut off something to go on the top of that. And this is from the 2022 calendar from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut out this truck. I used decorative edge scissors on here, and I apologize for not knowing what it's called. It's just a zigzaggy pattern. Now I'm going to Mod Podge the truck right in the center there. And I'm going back to the matte Mod Podge. Lift it up with my scissors and flip it over. I'm going to try to use those lines in the plaid paper to kind of line up the truck. Got a little bit of wrinkling up here, so I'm going to lift up where those pumpkins are and then smooth down. Once I had everything stuck down where I wanted it, I went over the whole front of this paper, truck, and all with a coat of that matte Mod Podge, which, by the way, is not totally matte. It's got a little shine. Looking good. I love it, love it. I got a little wrinkle or two in there, but I don't mind. It's handmade, y'all. Now I'm going to frame it out with these 5-gallon paint stirrers. I had cut the handles off and painted them for another project that I never got around to finishing. So I'm going to use them to frame this out, and they are just the perfect width to cover those edges on the side. Have a teeny bit of overlap. I'm going to have quite a bit of overlap at the top and bottom. So I think I'll start with the top and bottom pieces. Let's see. I'm going to have to cut them off a bit. So I'm going to get my measurement and cut to this size. Let's see if this will right. Yeah. I'll go just inside that line. I wrapped 2 of those paint stirrers together with just some paper tape, and I put a line of that around the top and bottom of the cut that I'm going to make. Then I sawed them down with my miter box and hand saw. I'm going to sand those ends down a little bit. I don't know what grit this is. 60 grit. Okay, that ought to do it. I do not have a sanding block at the moment, but this works just fine. Nice and smooth. Let's see if I cut it right. Yep. I'm going to use my glue gun. It has the Gorilla glue sticks in it. And I'll go, oh, whoops, that was a lot. Go all the way down. And maybe I can spread that out a bit. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Oh well, that'll be nice and secure. I'll line that up. Make sure I got it all the way up to the edge while it's still workable. I'm gonna have to go about right there. And I will tape those two together and do some more sewing. Let's put those on. all the way to the edge. And clamp it. Jed clamp it. Right there. I'm going to be using ink Waverly chalk paint. Hopefully it all blends well together. And on the ends, I'm not only painting the frame, I'm also painting the original edges of the sign so I can make that all blend. While that's drying, I'm going to take out some of my Scrabble tiles and see if I can spell out Happy Harvest to go across the bottom of the frame. And I'm going to center those letters as close to the middle as these paint stirrers as I can get. I'm going to start there and then just press the other ones up against that. And to attach these letters, I used my low temp glue gun. I'm going to measure out the length of the picture and make me a mark in the center. I switched back to my regular hot glue and the larger glue gun. And I'm going to put a good amount. Wow, it's popping. And then lay a popsicle stick or craft stick, you might say, right on top of that. And squish it down into that glue. This turned out to be a fantastic fall flip of a summer sign. Usually I don't like orange, but this orange plaid with the green teal colored truck is so pretty. I like that the frame's outlined in black, and I love the Scrabble tiles. Sometimes Dollar Tree gets it almost right. This is a pretty sign, but not everyone loves the glittery glitter on there. So I'm going to be, first I'll need to remove that raffia. What I like using to remove glitter is one of these grill brushes, and they're about to be on sale. I picked up a couple for 25 cents last year. I usually scrape with that because when you use a sanding block, it scatters more. And I got it down to a workable amount of glitter on there. I didn't get all of it because it was obscene how much was on there. I mean, come on, Dollar Tree. Who needs that much glitter? I'm going to go over those glitter areas with this Tulip Slick brown paint. I could not find puff paint to craft with for fall. This one says dimensional, so hopefully it works out to be okay. And I'm going to go over that stem. You know what? You can give it a little more detail if you want. Like that top of that, I don't know what you call it, the crown of the pumpkin, the crown of that pumpkin stem. And I'm just going to fill in the entire stem from here up. Now that I'm up to the top, I'm going to take just the tip of that and make some lines in there. You give it more texture. I want to make this a standing sign, so I'm going to put something together with some tumbling tower blocks. And I've got some that are already put together that was a failed project. So I think I'll use one of these for the stand. And then I'll put one on each side of where I want it to be. Make this where it sits down into something like that. And I'm going to use a paint stir just to get my width of the pumpkin. I'll go ahead and put some glue on the tumbling tower blocks. Trying to stay away from that paint stir as much as possible. And then glue that down. Let that sit for just a minute. And then pull that out. And there is a stand. I'm not going to paint it. I'll just use it as is, natural wood. It's got some hot glue on it, but it's not going to show. That'll be the back. Also, since it's going to be a stander and not a hanger, I need to fill up that hole at the top. So I'm just going to go through the back here and put some hot glue in there. And then I'll add some of that fabric paint on top of that once it gets cool. And let's test out that stand. It works like a charm. A little bit wobbly. I could put some paint stirrers on either side, I suppose, because it's got that little hump in the middle. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll put just one paint stir on each side to give it just a little more, cover a little bit more space there. Or I can take the one that I just used and cut it in half. Go ahead and even that out. And it really doesn't matter. I'm going to have some things overhanging. The stand's really not going to show much. But I'm just going to neaten it up a little bit. Oh no, it's splitting. I can still work with that. I can still work with it. Because I only need a sliver. So let's see here. Little piece over there. And a teeny piece over here. Let's see if that sturdies it more. Oh yeah! Yay! Got it. Got it, got it, got it. Nice and sturdy. Yay, I created a stand. I didn't know I could do that. Now I'm going to go around the sign here, covering that glitter and outlining with some texture. And of course, I'm going to be going over this also. I'm going to try to keep the line as thin as possible. But y'all know, if you work with puff paint, it ain't always a precise thing. You'll have little air bubbles pop out to mess you up. But I'm just going to get the gist of it, get the shape of these leaves and the points on the ends. That one needs to be more pointed. Ugh. Now, a bubble. Right when I said that, I jinxed myself. Spoke it into existence. I'm just going to leave it right there. And sharpen those ends a bit. Now that I'm looking at this, I kind of like the autumn, the little bit of glitter, now that I've toned down the glitter everywhere else. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Now what else I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the sunflowers with some silk sunflowers so that they stand out. And then I'm going to put the raffia bow back on at the top. I have different kinds of sunflowers. And I'm going to put, a couple of one, and then one of that larger sunflower. Well, it's got the larger center in it. I'm going to need to cut them down a little bit because they're standing out away from the picture. Try to cut it down without destroying the flower. think that will be it for this. I think just those few flowers are going to cover the original picture and look nice. I need to drop them down just a tiny bit. I might put some leaves in behind there where it's got a gap, where it's not sitting flat on the picture. I'll have to see once I get it together, see what it's looking like. Instead of worrying about it later, I'll just go ahead and glue something down now. I'll glue some leaves over those. I really didn't even need to paint that bottom laurel piece there, I guess you'd call it. Oh well, I wasn't planning on this. So let's stick that raffia back up at the top. There. Glue down some of these leaves. I'm just trying to cover the florals on the original picture. There. Now I'll add in the sunflowers. I'll start with this larger one over here. I'll put a good amount of glue down, and I'm using my low temp here. And I want a bit of overhang because I made that stand that it's going on. I just don't want it to get in that groove that would mess with the blocks, the Jenga blocks, or tumbling tower blocks, I should say. I'm supposed to say tumbling tower. One more flower after I refill my glue gun. And those shouldn't move a bit after I get them down. I've got a little bit of greenery showing over here. I'll just tuck in one more leaf. And I'll fold that in half and go right in there, up under that red one. Now this one is finished. I just got to set it in its stand and take a picture, and then we're done for today. And just look how pretty that turned out. So much better than before. And I'm happy about that little stand I made. I think it worked out great. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my dollar store sign hacks, and I hope that you'll go over and check out the playlist using the link I have for you in the descriptions. I've also left a link down there for Becky's channel. I know you'll just love everything she does. She is an amazing crafter and a wonderful friend. Until next time, bye-bye.